Well, good morning, every single person here. And before you say anything, yes, this is not Kurt. As you can tell by the accent, this is not Kurt Connelson. This is David Hooker. Because, unfortunately, poor old Kurt's been stuck in one of the typical Canadian spring weather traffic jams on our autobahns here, our motorways here. So we really do apologize for the fact that you're not going to listen to Kurt's dulcet tones, but I'm here. And I want to say to all the people sending in the messages of good morning to each and every one of you as you come through. This is Curtis and Deborah and Karen and Sadiq and Daljit and Gong and Jens and everyone from all over the world, from Trinidad, Tobago, from the United States of America, from India, from the United Kingdom, I can see on here, from all around the world. Welcome to this amazing presentation of Banners Broker, and to introduce you to the amazing opportunity that exists here with Banners Broker International. And for those of you who are guests on the line here and who have been on seen one of our presentations before, we welcome you to this weekly call to introduce you to the possibilities and the excitement and the things that are happening in Banners Broker as we expand around the world. And one of the things that we really do want to indicate to you here is that Banners Broker, it really is a revolutionary way to earn revenue online. And we're all interested in making additional revenue, and we understand that. And there are some very, very simple ways of making revenue. But if you want to make exceptional revenue, and if you want to make sure that you can make revenue that is exciting and interesting to earn, then it has to be revolutionary, because revolutionary makes it exciting. Revolutionary means you're breaking the rules. Revolutionary means that you're creating new dynamics in existing businesses. Many years ago, there was a gentleman called John Paul Getty, and some of you might know his name. I know his name because he made this statement in the year that I was born, believe it or believe it not, and he made a statement that said, "You will never get rich working for someone else." Now, that's a very brave statement to be making in 1947, all those years ago, at the end of the World War II, for a very successful entrepreneur of that time. He's one of the richest men on the planet, or he was one of the richest men on the planet, to say, you will never get rich working for someone else. And what does he mean by that? What does he mean by the fact? Because at the end of the war, if you can think about it, people were out there getting jobs, they were getting employment, and people were promised in those days, you get a job for life, study, go to university, get your degree, get a great job, work up the corporate ladder, stay in the company for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, get the gold watch after 50 years. You might end up with a car parking space in the car park. But John Paul Getty said then, you'll never get rich working for someone else. And I'll tell you something, you don't hear very many people today getting their gold watches for 25 and 30 and 50 years service. Why? Well, because there's no longer any safety and security, really, in working with someone else. Jobs and security are no longer guaranteed for life. You can't guarantee it for life. How can you guarantee for jobs for life when technology is reducing the demand for a workforce? Look at the motor industry, how it employed tens of thousands of people, but automation is making those people get laid off. So technology, therefore, is reducing the demand for a workforce. So there's no longer that security and guarantee of good income for life. And of course, we're living much longer, and we're getting paid shorter. We're living longer. My father died when he was 63, and that wasn't really a bad age to die at. Because that was the accepted sort of age that people died, 63, 65 to 70. You were old. But nowadays, we're now living to the 80s and 85s. Look at Margaret Thatcher. She just died at 83, 85 years of age. And of course, now what's also happening is pension funds that we pay in for. The pension funds that you pay into for years and years and years of whatever type of work you do, it was being invested into bonds around the world, and no longer a pension fund safe and secure. So job security is no longer guaranteed. Technology is reducing the demand for workforce, and we're living longer and getting paid shorter. And also, when you look at the Fortune 500 companies, And the Fortune 500 companies are the companies that we hold up as being the flagship. This is the way to go. These are the companies to emulate and to follow. Then at least 4.5, if not 5 million workforce people have been laid off out of Fortune 500 countries. 4.5 million. And that number's rising. That number's not a current figure. So really it's quite staggering. Now, there's been an emergence over the years of what they call SOHOs and SMEs. SOHO is small office, home office. These are people with, less than maybe 4 or 5 employees, but mainly working from home. And then SMEs are small to medium enterprises. And SOHOs are more renowned, I think, in the North American, SMEs more into the Europe arena of businesses. But every second of every day, a new home-based business opens somewhere in the world. Just think of that, every second of every day. SOHOs and SMEs, they're producing annually $5,471 trillion in revenue. From these little small companies with 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, $5,471 trillion of revenue. And it's growing daily as people really begin to realize the importance of having a second stream of income. So I'm hoping that I've opened your eyes up here to the fact of you do maybe need to have that second stream of income, regardless of what employment you currently have. You do need to have that second stream of income that gives you that security and maybe gives you that more longevity and income later on in life when your employed job comes to an end. Now, if you want to get out there then and start working for yourself or working for someone who works for themselves in an SME or a SOHO business, you need to be innovative. You've got to be original, creative, and daring. You've got to be able to sit down there and not have what I call a Me Too operation. A Me Too operation where you're trying to copy someone else and do the same as they're doing, because it doesn't work. You do need to be innovative. You do need to be original. You do need to be creative, and you do need to be daring. Now, that might not be in your nature, but if you can find someone where that is in their nature and you can follow that individual, then the chances are you're on to a good winner. And if you are going to be original, creative, and daring, then you've got to find someone who is pioneering into the new trillion-dollar territories. And when I say find someone, look around at all the businesses out there, look at the trillion-dollar industries, and find someone who's entrepreneurial, who's worked within those industries, or yourself use your entrepreneurial skills to get into those industries. And the most exciting and vibrant and fastest growing trillion-dollar industry we have today is the Internet. Most people, including myself, over the years, have never really seen the Internet as being a trillion-dollar industry or as a business opportunity. But it really is an amazing industry and business because of the way in which it has actually developed and the way in which it's been developing over the years. I mean, we now just start looking at the social media. And if we start looking, for example, at Facebook, Facebook has over 1 billion users on Facebook. Now, when you realize the population of India is what, 1.25 billion people, that's almost the whole of the entire India getting there and board on Facebook. It's immense. It's massive where people are using social media to communicate with each other. Twitter, a relatively newcomer to the world of social media, have over 500 million accounts, and there's 500 million tweets a day. That's where people are sitting down. They're not only sitting on Facebook and using the internet to communicate with and to sell and share ideas with, but they're also sharing what's happening in their life on a daily basis through the use of tweets and using their Twitter as a means of communicating, which has really, in a sense, moved away from the telephone and has gone on to this social media place where people want to communicate. And you look at social media, 2.4 billion in total social media networking accounts. 2.4 billion. That now tells you then that people in their off time, their downtime, in their spare time, in their relaxing time, they're using the internet. And this is going to lead you as to why it's become a trillion-dollar industry. There's 630 million websites. according to the information we get by doing our research out on the internet, 630 million with approximately 13 billion, 13 billion independent pages floating around the world that people like you and I are continually researching and going to. That's a staggering number when you think about it. But also, if you look at this chart here, you can see on the left-hand side of the chart the different continents where you've got the internet users. But what really fascinates me more than anything else is the figures up here, where it says down here that 1.1 billion new internet users added in the last 5 years. I don't know of any other industry where the client base or the potential client base or a potential customer base has managed to grow by 1 billion people in that period of time. I don't know anywhere that I've seen that go. So when you start looking down here, and my slide seems to have gone a little bit awry here. I don't know what's happened here, folks. So let's just hold on a minute, because this is also the state of the internet. Isn't it fascinating that you can use the internet and everyone is out there using it, and then all of a sudden your internet goes wrong on you. So I'm now going to do something here, and we'll go click on this when I get my tick on the next slide. All right, so we've got something gone wrong here, folks, isn't we? Eh? So let's go back to last viewed. Hope this isn't messing you up, guys, as we wander around down here. I think we've got it sorted out now. Okay, so let's press this button here and see what happens. There you go. So we already shared with you. I'm pretty good at this, aren't I? I hope you're all amazed at my dexterity on being able to surface and manage this information technology at my age. I'm very impressed. So the numbers are great, and the numbers are continually growing. And this has got stuck on me again. So why has that got stuck on me again? There we go. Asia has 922 million people, Europe 476, China 48 million. But this is the most important part I want you to focus here. Of all the people on the internet, 45% of all users are under the age of 25 years of age. Now, that also does mean, don't forget, though, all right, that 55% are above that age, which is into my sort of era. But look at this. They're all looking at company advertisements. They're all sitting down there and looking at company advertisements, which is where the trillion-dollar industry is within the internet world. So let's now sit down here and look at what use that information is to you, as to why that is of benefit as to the people looking at advertisements. All right. So we've now gone, these slides are all gone wrong on us, folks. So we're going to go back a minute down here. There we go. So because of the number of users on it, because of the number of users using the internet, online advertising has become a big, major part of the internet industry. They anticipate there's about $500 billion currently being spent on companies placing advertisements on the internet. And they anticipate that in the next 3, 4, 5 years, that it's going to become a $1 trillion industry. And because it's going to become a $1 trillion industry, this there says to you, as someone that's looking for a business to get involved with that you can do from home, that maybe this is the industry to get involved with and to sit down and identify as how you can change your fortunes financially. So let's have a quick little look at who's built this industry, who has got it to where it is. Now, we're all familiar with Google. Of course we are. But what's really interesting is this. 97% of all the revenue that Google generates comes from advertising. Isn't that interesting? They are a search engine without any product, yet 97% of their revenue comes from advertising. That amount is $37.3 billion. I was just looking at a report recently in the United Kingdom alone. The revenue generated by Google on advertising is $2.3 billion out of the United Kingdom alone, just by doing advertising. Then you've got Facebook. Now, Facebook is relatively new to the banner online advertising world and only got involved with it within the last few years. And that's why their revenue from advertising is currently only at $4.2 billion, but that is 83% of their total revenue. And now you can start saying to yourself, wow, companies are beginning to see that this is an emerging trend, which is why they anticipate it to become a trillion-dollar industry, because anyone that has a product or a service that they wish to market, you need to advertise it, and with over 2 billion and growing to 3 billion readership, the internet has to be the place to go. And that's what Twitter said. When Twitter sat down and said, well, we've got to start generating more revenue, they realized that they can do it. So 89% of their revenue, which is only currently 288 million, comes from advertising, but they're on their way, and they will be in the billions in the next year or so. And LinkedIn, they've just jumped onto the advertising, banner advertising online business, and only 25% of their current revenue comes from advertising, because it's a new enterprise for them. But that's 153 million. Now, imagine any one of you on the call here now, from wherever you are in the world, jumping on board this industry and sitting down and saying, well, I'm only doing 153 million. My goodness gracious me, what a great figure to have. But by getting involved with Banner's Broker, you have an opportunity of being able to take part in that industry without having to pay for the infrastructure and all the research and development costs that are involved in getting yourself into that industry. So that's what happened at Banner's Broker. Chris Smith, the owner, CEO of Banner's Broker, wanted to get into this industry, thought about it, and saw what other companies were doing and thought, well, could he do the same? So to do that, he had to sit down and create a plan and a program that was not a Me Too program or plan, but a plan that could say to the world, look, we're doing what they're doing, but we're doing it better because of this. And so he had sat down and developed an opening that hadn't been seen before. And that's what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs look at ideas, they look at what other people are doing, and then they sit down and say, well, how can I do it better? Or how can I find something they're not doing that I can improve upon? And that's what Chris did. He developed a new opening that had never been identified before. He then created a plan as to how people would receive income, generate income, and how that income would be shared amongst his organization. And then he went out and started presenting the plan to various business individuals who worked within the online advertising industry, and he presented the plan over and over and over and over again, a little bit like what Disney must have done decades ago when he tried to present Mickey Mouse as a cartoon character, where he got turned down over and over again. But eventually someone said yes. And that's what happened to Chris. One of the brokers he spoke to, they weren't a major broker. One of the brokers said, hey, I like your idea. Yeah, let's give it a go. And so, of course, Banner's Broker was born. And that's exactly how it came about. Real simple. A person has an idea, has IT experience and knowledge and expertise, develops a program, and sells his idea to someone. That's all he could sell was the idea. So what is Banner's Broker? Well, in simple terms, Banner's Broker is an online ad space broker. That's it. We're a broker very much like you have insurance brokers, mortgage brokers, whatever you want to call them, real estate brokers who work for major brokers. We are an online ad space broker. And we create a new way to earn revenue online, and our products are ad impressions. And an ad impression is when a person who's surfing the internet looks at an ad. That's ad impressions. And ad inventory. And ad inventory is the space that we rent or own out there in the internet where people place their advertisements. We're not an advertising company. We just have ad impressions and ad inventory. And so in simple terms, what is it that we do? Well, we rent advertising space. We generate increased traffic through our affiliate program through to the broker network. That in turn helps generate advertising revenues because advertisers want to place advertisements on the space that we own. The broker makes revenue. He shares that revenue with us. Then we share that revenue with you. And it really is that simple. And the more affiliates that we have who are out there creating traffic and renting ad space, the more space we own and the more income that everyone achieves and receives. So in a nutshell, that really is it. And when you realize that advertising is not you, advertising used to be where cavemen would draw on the rocks and they'd send their messages out and put their history and their past on rocks. And then we went from rock, we moved from rock into print media. Then we went from print media into digital. And That's exactly how our program operated. Real simple. And we just went into it. So then I start looking at, we've got to go back here again a minute because some of these slides aren't really working well. So let's just go back. Guys, if you can just bear with me for a minute here. There we go. So we went from rock to print to digital. And the digital is where we are today. And print media is always going to be there for in terms of advertising. That's never really going to change. And it's always going to be hanging around, of course it is. So from rock to print to digital. Now, the internet has changed absolutely how people today advertise. Social media, again, don't forget, social media, 2.5 to 3 billion people, has made the public more accessible to advertisers because it's a captive audience, because everyone's online all the time. And so those people who are continually surfing the net, they're known as surfers. But in the advertising world, those surfers are referred to as traffic. And the 5 biggest traffic creators there are is Google, Yahoo, YouTube, Facebook, and Baidu. And so the Baidu is the Chinese version of YouTube. And so when you start looking at these traffic generators, you start realizing that we're all surfing the net, we're all using these search engines, so we therefore become traffic. And with Banner's Broker, what Chris wanted to do, he wanted to give everyone the opportunity to earn a piece of the online advertising pie. And so through his connections with the online world and through his technology and through the brokers we work with, you have an opportunity of capitalizing on that amazing world that's out there. So how can we change your finances? Well, it's really simple. And let me first explain to you how the blind network actually operates. The blind networks is, if you go onto Google and research the phrase blind networks, you'll get a lot of information, especially if you go to Wikipedia, and a really good explanation of what blind networks are. But the best way to explain it to you is this. If you want to advertise in a magazine or a publication, and you want to advertise on the front cover or back cover or bottom left-hand corner of the front cover or wherever you want, but back cover, front cover, inside of both those covers, then you'll pay a premium for advertising in those locations because you are dictating where you want your advertisement to appear. That's how advertising works. If you want to, and you know where it is, and you can pick up that magazine or publication any time of the day or night, and you will see your ad. Now, the inside pages of a publication are a bit like the blind networks because you can't dictate where your advert's going to appear. And the publisher of that magazine or publication will put your advertisement where they believe it fits in with all the content that they have got to put in there, which is the printed content. I think you can't dictate where where your advert goes, and you've got to flick through the pages as you try to find it. Well, the blind networks really is almost the same. So if you can relate the blind networks as being the inside pages of a publication, where you can't dictate where your advert goes, then you get a pretty good idea as to how the blind networks actually operate. And the blind networks, you can never get an exact figure as to how much revenue is being generated through blind networks. You know, some figures will tell you 300 billion, some tell you 600 billion. So we thought we'd put in 500 billion, which indicates it's a lot of revenue being generated. The bees that are surrounding that are the brokers. There are major brokers who hold captive most of the websites that are out there. And most of the websites out there, as we say, about 500 million websites. They're not all in the blind networks, but the brokers control some of those and many of those websites. So one broker might have a stable of, say, a million websites. Another broker might have a stable of 200 million websites. Another broker might have a stable of 20 million websites. So we really don't know what number of websites these brokers own, but these bees represent the brokers that are out there. So then what happened is that for the blind network to work, it needs advertisers. Advertisers who are looking for an inexpensive way of reaching a mass number of people tend to use the blind networks. They can't maybe afford the high premiums it is to go into the front and back covers of magazines or the high traffic generating websites. So they go to the blind networks, which consist of the medium to low traffic generating websites, and the adverts then get moved around daily, hourly, as the adverts are moved around from website to website to website to capitalize on the traffic that's there. So the advertiser goes through whatever broker they choose and go into the blind network, and they pay their money to do so. Now, of course, the broker needs websites, and these websites are known as publishers. So people donate their website into the blind network, and the advertiser then can put banner ads onto the website belonging to that publisher, which in turn generates income for the publisher. So that's how it works. The publisher doesn't know what banner ads will go onto his website. They will all be geared to the content of his website. Banners go on websites that have the same sort of content or interest. The advertisers don't know what websites they're going to be put onto, and the publishers don't know which adverts they're going to get. But the advertiser pays money to the broker keeps some of that money and pays some down there to the publisher. That's it. It's that simple. However, what then happened is that a guy called Chris Smith came along and wanted to find a way as to how he could capitalize on this amazing industry. And of course what happened was all the brokers kept saying no to him, as you can see by these crosses going around the presentation here. But all of a sudden, one broker, as I mentioned previously, said, yeah, I don't mind going into business with you. So he decided to go into business with Chris and said, okay, let's do something that can really build this business up. And so what Chris had to do was to put a bridge from his program, his concept, and build a bridge so that his program would talk to the broker's program. And he promised the broker, we will give it to you 100, 200, 300,000 affiliates driving traffic into your broker network. And that's how it works. So then what happens is then, because our affiliates are continually driving traffic through to the blind networks, the blind network is increasing his income. He takes some of that income and he shares it with Banners Broker International. Banners Broker International keeps some of the income and shares the rest of it with the affiliates. And that's exactly how it works, and it really is as simple as that. Now, of course, there's advertisers out there who want to promote their products through into the network and then start using the internet for promoting their business. And of course, if they wish to do so, it's a free journey. They can go straight through to our program, go straight through our bridge, and can talk directly to the networks and say, I want to put my advertisement in there, and they deem how much traffic they wish to purchase. In other words, how many people do they wish to see visiting their advertisement? Do they want to have 100,000 impressions, 200,000 impressions? How much people do they want to see visiting their banner or seeing their banner? And they pay so much for whatever people want to see as their banner. And of course, publishers are exactly the same. People out there with websites don't realize that they can monetize that website. They really weren't quite sure how to do that, but if you've got a website that is attracting a certain amount of traffic, then of course you can go to the network and say, listen, I want to use my website to generate some income for myself. Can you please do that? Now, because we were doing that and increasing the traffic that was going through, increasing the business for the broker, all of a sudden towards the end of last year, a second broker came along and said, hey, this is going too well. We want a slice of this. And so a second broker came on board, and the rest of it is history as Banners Broker is beginning to grow. And towards the end of 2013, based on the growth rate we currently have, we're envisaging about 1 million affiliates at the end of this year. And we will become one of the biggest brokers out there on the Internet. So that gives you a simple little look as to how and why it all works. And as an affiliate, the Banners Broker affiliate, what happens here is that you're able to financially benefit as an advertiser and a publisher, even though you might not have a personal website to promote. And therefore, as an affiliate, you become an advertiser and website owner, which means that you can now earn money from both sides of the industry, which is what makes it very, very exciting, really interesting. Now, as an advertiser, if you can refer advertisers to use Banners Broker as their broker, all right, not as the advertising medium, but as their broker, then whatever their spend on their number of impressions they want to purchase, then there is an income of 10% that is awarded to yourself. And also, if you can want to refer website owners, there's also income can be derived from recommending website owners to use us as a broker of their choice. And then as an affiliate, if you wish, now don't forget, as an affiliate, you are an independent business person running your own personal business from home. Now, you can, of course, and we'd like you to, invite your family, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your dads, your uncles, your cousins, people you know from work, to get involved as an affiliate and help build our business. And you can do that, and in return for doing that, then you'll gain traffic bonuses and different boosters that will help you achieve a high income on the efforts that you are currently out there doing. Now, you're not on your own. We do have a good marketing support system for you, which operates almost 24 hours a day, Sunday through to Friday. And we can help you. We have offices around the world where support is available to you around the world, around the clock, and also here where the support system is in Canada. And we're there to help you and guide you as you go along. As far as tours and training go, it's very rare, but this company, their leaders are on the road all the time. This goes right from the owners at the very, very top of the tree all the way down through to the executive team and our brand ambassadors and our general managers. Everyone is on the field all the time, continually doing training and offering support. And, of course, when we do our workshops, it's always only ever standing room only. In the Caribbean recently, we had over 1,700 people in attendance. In Manchester, 1,500 people in attendance. Ireland, 1,000 people in attendance. We've got the convention happening in Niagara Falls in July. We're expecting a couple of thousand people in attendance. And so it goes on and on and on with the support and the energy we put in to support our affiliates out there in the field. So what sort of income can you sort of anticipate to generate? And how does it work for you? Well, Banner's broker owns ad inventory. That's space on the internet. So we purchase that ad inventory at a discount, and it's a negotiated discount from the broker who actually, if you like, owns the website and has that space on his website. That same inventory that we negotiate a discount for, we rent that inventory back to our affiliates. In other words, you are then co-owners. We sublease that ad inventory out to our affiliates. And then the affiliates generate traffic to fill that inventory so the advertisements get on there and get the right amount of impressions. Now, the income that you can make is totally dependent on how much inventory you purchase and the campaigns that you're running, because you do need to be running campaigns, be it promoting your own product, your own service, or promoting Banner's broker. As long as your campaign's running, then your income is going to be generated. Now, there's various ways in which you can get involved with this company, various packages out there from $25 and here to $3,600. There is a new package that has just come out. So make sure you get some more information on the new packages around. And it's up to you. You've got to sit down and decide what it is that you wish to do, how much energy you want to put into the business, how much time you're going to allocate to it, and whether this is going to become, down the road, a substantial income generator for you, which means a lot more energy, or you just want to bring it in a few extra dollars to change your life and buy a few meals a month and a few bottles of wine, or whether you want to buy a yacht and a champagne and a Caribbean island somewhere. So just to give an example here, if you came on board with the professional package, which is generally where most people decide they want to get involved in the company with, then your anticipated revenue when that package completes is about $800. But the time frame of completion of each of these packages is dependent upon your campaigns, also dependent upon the traffic you generate, and also depends upon the activity on the internet throughout the blind network as a whole with the advertisers that are out there. So, you know, for all of you guys on the call here today that are looking in for the first time, and it's very gratifying to see so many of you on the call here, try it today. If someone invited you onto this call, so make sure you give them a phone call and say to them, hey, thanks so much. I really enjoyed that. And even though the slides didn't go according to plan, I really enjoyed it. And pick a package. Give it a go today. We'll give you some free impressions you can play around with. There's a mass of webinars out there from people in various countries who do training webinars, informational webinars. There's information in the back office. There's training in the back office done by our training team here. There are free workshops. So, guys, you know, give it a go. We started off this presentation this morning by explaining to you that, you know, there's no longevity in working for someone else. You're never going to get rich working for someone else. You've got to make sure you add another string to your bow. And it's always urged by people, pundits around the world will say to you, if you have a job, go get yourself a second supplementary income, because you never know where it's going to take you in the future. Now, getting involved is not a difficult thing. It is so simple and so easy and so straightforward. The person that invited you onto the webinar has a name, all right? So all you need to do is go to bannersbroker.com and then do a / and type in that person's name. And then very simply, just follow all the instructions, and it's ABC, or should I say ABCA. It's really simple. You just register with simple steps, filling your name and your last name various other personal details for us. And then the gentleman or the lady that invited you to become part of Banner's Broker will show you how to put a campaign together. And they'll take you through the advertiser program. They'll take you through how to create a program on the blind network, and they'll just talk you through it. It's not a long process. It's a very, very simple process. And then you'll be involved in what they call contextual targeting, which means who do you want to see what you're going to be promoting? What sort of person is it? Are they people from the health and wealth industry? Is it people from the entertainment business? What sort of person do you want to sit down and have them looking at your program? And then where do you want it to see? Do you want to see your campaign in Canada or America or India? Which country do you want to see it in, or which city? So you just pick your city. That's called geo-targeting. And then you decide which banner you're going to upload. So you go into the back office, and if you're going to be promoting Banner's Broker, then you go in there, you sit down and find the banner that suits you, the whole choice of banners, and then you upload the banner you want to upload, or you can even create your own banner. But the first place is just sort of follow the banners that we have in the back office, so you can just learn the business first of all. And then we've got various ways that you can track your campaign and to see exactly how it is moving on and going for you. And really, guys, it's that simple. We started into this business 2.5 years ago without anyone. And over the months, because of people just talking to other people and talking to people, and just word of mouth, no major advertising campaign, now grown to 370,000 affiliates around the world in 177 countries. Wow, can you believe that? With offices in 16 countries. I mean, it really is quite incredible as what's going on. And all you need to do now is become a Banner's Broker right now and become part of this online business. Don't expect it to be successful overnight. Take your time. Take time to understand it, and take time to work out where you want to go and put this business together. So, guys, I really appreciate you being on board here, and that you've come on board, and it's so good. It's gratifying to see you here, and we really do appreciate you. Get onto this call, and make sure you get onto all the various calls that do take place around the world by our various affiliates and the ICs and general managers in various languages, and wherever you are, we wish you a very, very successful and happy week. Take care. God bless, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.